Hello, hope you all are doing really well. Welcome back to Deetalks and I'm Deepthi. Today we are going to look at beginning of stories. How do you begin a story? Well, it's a very much debatable topic. Some might ask you to start with a dialogue. Some might ask you to start with introducing the characters. Some might ask you to start with a plot twist. To be honest, this totally depends on what genre you're going to write about. And it's really important to tackle the subject genre by genre. And in that series, we are going to look at thrillers today. And what best way to compare this other than analyzing some really well-made movies, right? So I have compared the beginnings of 3 well-made thriller movies to understand what would be the best way to start a thriller story. And first one among that series is the very well written and the very well made. This has been remade in almost all the languages, I guess, which is Drishyam. The beginning of Drishyam covers a police officer joining his first day of work, and from his dialogues we can know that the building is a new construction and it's a newly inaugurated one. And as soon as he enters, he recognizes the protagonist, who is George Kaithi, and just says he looks innocent. What happened to his case? So these questions would subconsciously get into the audience's head and raise the follow-up questions as in, who is this George Kaithi and what is that case, or is George Kaithi guilty or not? I really love how all the details are intervened into a single scene by making it the first day of a police officer. And it is from his words that we know that it's a new construction, which is a major fact that aids for the plot further. And number 2 in the series is one of my favorite movies. It is very well written and well made, which is Kaithi. It starts off by informing Amuda, the kid in the orphanage, that somebody is going to meet her the next morning. And Amuda has no idea who it is. Although this scene is not entirely related to the core of the storyline, this establishes the focal point or the purpose of the protagonist. And therefore, it is essential to have established at this point in time. And this follows with a police officer getting hurt in the process of seizing almost 900 kgs of cocaine, which is under the commissioner's office. There's a detail again. And this scene also reveals that the police has an informer in the villain gang, and so does the villain gang. And of course, the motive of the protagonist is also made clear, who was a prisoner, who got released, and his entire motive or his focal point or the purpose is to meet his daughter, who is Amuda. In Kaithi, the entire foundation of the story and the details or the facts are laid in that single scene. And finally, we're going to look at one of the exceptionally made movies with a brilliant writing. In the beginning of Inception, the audience were told what an inception is, who the protagonist is, and how the act of inception is done, and how do they come out of the inception. It's a whole new world with an amusing concept. And can you believe that the audience were taken into that world in just 10 minutes? If your writing is on point, then any concept can be explained in the first 10 minutes of your story. So from analyzing all this, the beginning of your thriller story should contain these things. Introduction of the protagonist. You keep the purpose or motive of the protagonist really clear. Number 2 is one-liner or a brief introduction of the conflict. What are we going to look at further on in the story? Is it a missing case? Is it a murder mystery? Is it a heist? Is it a psycho killing? Or is it a drug dealing? Things as such. Number 3 is the key details of the conflict or the plot is definitely revealed. Like, if it is a serial killer, is there a pattern in it? If it is a drug dealing, how much is it? If it's a heist, what are the actual numbers? Or is it a whole new concept like Inception? Thriller stories also has a different category wherein the story begins with something that happened long back in time, where it has some conflict or connection to the real-time characters or situations, which will be solved only by the end of the story. I hope you get some idea about how to start your thriller story. We're going to analyze and explore more of such concepts in writing. If you're interested, please do join along. Until I see you next time, take care, bye.